let's let's talk a little bit, because even though I did in the credits, I took it out because I was just like so shocked at what had just happened in that ending. That was a really ballsy ending to kill the Joker like that. Now, I don't know Arkham Knight, so I don't know if they'd pull a fast one and go, "Oh, he wasn't really dead. It was a doppelganger or something." It just, to me, it's a shock because you can't imagine a Batman scenario without Joker in it. And even in the Telltale series, the Telltale series, an off-canon story, the Joker was a character in the game. He wasn't the main point for a change. That was Lady Arkham. But, but Joker was there because Batman and the Joker, it just makes sense. I mean, they've been the staple hero villain since the beginning. So the fact that Rod City killed him is really a ballsy move, and I applaud them for that move. But what does that leave for Arkham Knight now? I think the Arkham Knight is a new enemy in the game. I think he's an actual person. I don't know who it is. But I applaud that. I mean, like I said during the beginning credits before I took it out, because it was a horrendously long sequence. Is this Arkham series even like canon? Is it all canon in the Batman lore? If it is, then wow. And if that is the case, then Arkham Knight could be the last Batman game we see, aside from maybe Telltale's version, because Telltale's is off canon, Yeah. Oh yeah, so she had like 4 episodes the whole time, and it was pointless, really. Right, so Harley Quinn's set after the game, so I'll probably do that next. I'll probably do that in like a separate video. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised that they did that. That was a very ballsy move. Yeah, I don't know what to say, because that's just such a shock to me. It's very rare that sort of thing happens. The main villain normally just goes away in a lot of cases. But Batman and Joker have been the hero villain since the beginning. It doesn't seem right. It feels odd. It really feels strange. And I don't even have that much connection with the Batman lore, so yeah. That is one of the most brave endings I've ever seen to a video game. That's brave to say that Joker will not be the central point in Arkham Knight now. Of course, everyone who probably knows about Arkham Knight knows about it, because it's been out for maybe a year or two now. But I haven't really played it up to now, because obviously I wanted to get these done. But I think that's a very brave ending. There's all sorts of spectrums with endings I've experienced in my time doing YouTube. There's the best ending ever, written by Hideo Kojima for Metal Gear Solid 4. There's a complete bullshit one with Life is Strange. And then there's a real brave one like this. Wow. I'm stunned by that. I am still stunned, even though I've got over the credits and we've played that last Catwoman sequence. I still feel stunned that they did that. I mean, that is truly incredible. That is truly incredible to say that the Joker is now gone in the Arkham canon. That's absolutely... I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to say about the story as a whole, because I don't really have that much connection with the characters, but... So, I can really talk about the game. The game is great, bar the frustrating points in the combat, which I've probably gone over in Arkham Asylum, so I don't really need to do it here because it'd be redundant. It's just the frustrations with the combat sometimes and the looseness of the controls. But, to be fair, this game was released in 2010. It's a re-release. It's not a remaster. They kind of dance around the whole remastered treatment. So hopefully Arkham Knight's controls will be a little tighter. I want Arkham Knight's controls to be tighter. I think it's a bit loose. and a bit freefall sometimes. It feels like the game plays itself sometimes and just does what it wants to do in like an autopilot situation that isn't really the best course of action that I wanted to do. I still think the enemies crowd you too much. I still think there's too many enemies on the screen in high combat sections, so hopefully they fix that. Luckily, I will not be playing the PC version because I hear that PC version was garbage. I don't know if they fixed it. Probably, but in any case, I would be on the PS4 anyway because I do own the game on the PS4. I always have since soon after I started my Arkham Asylum playthrough. The game is a huge, is it a huge improvement over Arkham Asylum in scale and things to do? Yes, but at the core, it's still the same. You've obviously got some newer skills. Most of the skills you carried over in Arkham Asylum do carry over to Arkham City, which is a good thing. I think that's a good thing, because then you get very familiar with the skills you already used. But in terms of like any gameplay, the only thing that's really different between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City is a matter of level scale and the fact that it's an open world game. That's the only real difference. You get out of the asylum and you get to explore the entire city. That's probably the biggest improvement over Arkham Asylum. And is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. I don't mean it's a bad thing, because in Arkham Asylum, a lot of it worked. There was frustrations for me with the combat, but for the large majority the game worked. The way the combat is, the whole thing just worked. And I don't think they wanted to want to change much for Arkham City, which is understandable. It makes a lot of sense. But they just added more scale to it with the open world and such. So they improved the game in the right areas. It's just a shame that sometimes in the combat I feel that it can be a bit loose and freeform. Really, the controls just don't seem there. But it is a port of a game in 2010, and generally, I think these sorts of games would probably be better on an Xbox controller. But I don't really know. A lot of people played the Xbox 360 version of this game when it came out and probably had no problems with the controls whatsoever. So maybe that could be a console thing. But they are legendary for a reason, and I think the best thing about Batman Arkham City and Batman Arkham Asylum, and probably even Batman Arkham Knight before I play it, is that it's true to the source material to a T. And I love that kind of game. And even though I don't feel such connection with Batman and his characters, because I didn't really grow up having a superhero, like I said, I get the series. Even Telltale's Batman series kind of got me into a bit more Batman and his life and his characters and his allies and enemies and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciated Arkham Asylum and Knight a lot more than I would have done had I not known that. I had I not known about Harley Quinn and all the stuff she got into, like being the Joker's doctor and all that, with the rise of Catwoman, Poison Ivy, all these people I knew, well, not Poison Ivy, but I knew Poison Ivy from Injustice. Injustice would be another one. Injustice would be very similar to that. Solomon Grundy in this game, I knew who he was because of Injustice. Injustice and Telltale's Batman have taught me so much more about the DC comic universe. I don't feel that with Marvel just yet. No, it is DC, isn't it? Yeah, I got a bit confused there for a moment. So I feel, in terms of DC and Marvel, I feel more in connection with DC. I've hardly ever played a Marvel game. I played Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I've played Marvel Infinite a little bit, and I played X-Men vs. Street Fighter. So they're all fighting games really, they're not story ones like this, so I feel more connected with DC's characters because I've been part of their stories that they've been in. With the Injustice games, Batman's Telltale, Batman Arkham series now. But this and I think that's the reason a lot of people love this game, and these games in particular, the Arkham games, is because they're so true to the source material they're doing. And 2009 to 2000 maybe 13, early 2013 was a golden age for games like this. It's just a shame that these days you get games that do checklists like Call of Duty does. So I think I understand why these games are popular that they are now. I think I get it. I get the popularity of these Arkham games because I feel more in tune with Batman than I ever did before I played Batman Telltale. So Injustice and Batman Telltale have been great kind of knowledge gathering for these games, and that's why I feel much more in tune with this. Now, as far as the story goes, it's a real ballsy move. You know, Joker is not the centerpiece enemy for a start, and generally with Batman you probably would think they have to do that because it's Joker and Batman, but he and Harley Quinn aren't the centerpiece here. It's Hugo Strange and maybe Ra's al Ghul and I think it's them two. It's Hugo Strange mostly. You know, with Batman Arkham Asylum it was clear that it was Batman versus Joker and maybe a couple others. But I think everybody gets their time to shine and Joker gets put into the background, bringing everyone else forward for good reason. It's a good way of doing it. But to kill him? That's brave. That is very brave. I have to applaud Rocksteady for that. I think a lot of people, Batman fans, would be surprised. Now for me, it's a shock, but it's not genuinely as a shock because I'm not there as what a lot of people are. So as the story is concerned, it's a ballsy one. It's a very brave and ballsy story, and I think that's what gave this game its charm. Is it's not about the Joker this time. It's about totally different enemies, you know? And I love that. And I think Arkham Knight will be very, very different for a while. And hopefully, with that, I'll get to learn some even more about some characters. Like, I don't really know this newest Robin. I don't know that much about Tim Drake at all. The only Robin I know is Dick Grayson, and the only way I know him is through he was the original Robin. And then I had no idea he turned into Nightwing, and then another Robin came forward. I never knew about that. You know, so there's still some things in the Batman universe I don't even know, even though I know more than I ever did before I played Injustice and Telltale's Batman. So, wow, what a game. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by how brave this story is. It's so brave. There are a few people that really I don't get. Like, I don't get Hugo Strange's whole thing. I think he was very insignificant in this story. You know, Protocol 10 was basically just to eradicate Arkham City, but for what reason? You know, I don't think he had a reason behind it other than to, I don't know, make money? Be a villain? Do a villain thing? You know, and it turns into the demise of Joker, and it's... I think Harley Quinn in Arkham Knight is going to be very interesting. I'm very interested to find out more about Harley Quinn now she's lost Joker. Now, I don't think she'll be different as in a whole different new leaf. I think she'll still be like the kind of antagonist, but Harley Quinn, like I said, she's not a true bad guy for me. You know, we all know that she's been heavily influenced by what the Joker's been doing. She's not an antagonist, I don't think. I think Harley Quinn is an anti-hero that doesn't do anti-hero things. But I think she's going to be well interesting in Arkham Knight. I hope they pick up on her, because I think this is going to be very interesting to see which way Harley Quinn goes after that. You know, it's going to feel weird. It really is. But how... Harley Quinn and Bruce Wayne, Batman, they're going to be the two most interesting things about Arkham Knight, because now everything has changed about the Batman universe. At least in the Arkham storyline, everything has changed. I don't know what to say. I'm generally surprised in a good way at how brave this story's been. I can't get enough of it. It's such a good story when you look at it in the grand scheme of things. Now, Hugo Strange turns out to be very insignificant. Catwoman turns to be very insignificant. Red is there for about all of 5 minutes, or Poison Ivy, whatever you want to call it. Harley Quinn doesn't really get her time in the shine either, apart from this DLC, which I'll start immediately after this video is done. But Rocksteady did a great job. They took over what works, added scale, and added a story that was incredibly brave. Incredibly brave. And that's great. Rocksteady took the source material, made it great as a Batman. You know, Batman never really had a super game. You know, I don't think he had a super game, you know, that everyone loved until the Arkham games came along. And I think that's because Rocksteady was true to Batman, true to the source material. I love games like that. You know, I've often talked about Dragon Ball FighterZ and how I love how this game is so true to the source material. And that's what I love about Arkham. The Arkham games, they're so true to the source material. And even Batman Telltale, and even Injustice even. You know, so even Injustice was another really brave story where Superman turns evil, he interacts with Batman, it's like... And they even mention Metropolis in this game, so that's interesting. But you know, it's a DC game that's focused on one particular character, and Superman doesn't even get mentioned. So, you know, it's a pure Batman game that's true to the source. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yes, I have my problems with the combat and the controls, but you know, they're gameplay things. As a game, you know, it still works. It's just a few gripes here and there. No game's perfect, but this is true to Batman. I feel I know why these games were so respected and so loved by Batman fans, because it was they were the first true Batman games that felt like Batman. And yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I think it's just such a brave story. I love it, dude. I love how brave it was to take risks, to kill the Joker, to make him less of a centerpiece villain. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, I'm going on a bit too long. I am sorry about that. Following this will probably be Harley Quinn's Revenge before we get to Arkham Knight, because Harley Quinn's Revenge actually does follow on from this game. So we will be sure to check that out, and I'll put it in this playthrough's playlist because it does feature after that. So a lot like maybe Resident Evil 6 when I did it the first time. I intertwined all stories in one particular playlist. I'll do it here as well for Harley Quinn's Revenge. And I think this will be our first step into Arkham Knight and how she will cope. Now the Joker's not there. She's such an interesting character for Arkham Knight, dude. I can't wait to get into that game. But obviously you'll probably see it immediately after this playthrough is done. So be on the lookout. But what a brave story by Rocksteady, and very well done indeed. Very brave and very applauding for bravery like that. And a lot of stories play it safe these days. This was made in a time where people took risks. People made their games like as good as they could do. Now for the remaster, this isn't obviously the case, but like I said, with this game, the remaster treatment wasn't really needed because the game was great to begin with. It has problems, I think, in the combat and the controls, but they're all from Arkham Asylum anyway, so it's not something I'm overly mad at now I have some experience with it. For the one thing I want Arkham Knight to do is be once again brave with its story, which it can do now because the Joker's gone. So it can really bring in a new villain. I think Scarecrow is one of the main villains in the story, which would be very interesting, because Scarecrow wasn't even in this game. So, yeah, there's that. The one thing I want Arkham Knight to do is just tighten up the controls a little bit. Make them a bit more fluid and responsive, because they were very loose at times, and very free-fall when the game's playing itself sometimes, being a bit on autopilot, and you don't really have a lot of control over what Batman does, especially in combat. So that's the one thing I would want this game to do. If it doesn't really do it, then well, then I won't complain about it too much. Yeah. For Arkham Origins, I want you guys to let me know whether I should play it or not. I'm definitely going to play through Arkham Knight, but for Arkham Origins, I'm not sure. So that's it. I'm going to talk for a little bit more. I do apologize, but this is a landmark day for me because when you put Dead Rising aside, because Dead Rising isn't anywhere near on the scale of a Grand Theft Auto Batman Arkham City, this is my first ever open world playthrough that I've actually completed. And I'm very proud of the results. Let me know what you guys thought. Did I cut out enough boring parts? Was there a part that I missed that I'll keep an eye out for? I think I picked out a lot of the traveling and just a lot of the retries, and after deaths I would cut the rest of it out and just skip to the end rather than have the whole fight play out again. So hopefully it's not too convoluted. Hopefully I left the story parts intact. From what I edited just a minute ago, the playthrough ended at part 37. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be about part 40 by now. And obviously we've got Harley Quinn's revenge afterwards. But let me know how it went, and I'll definitely do Arkham Knight, and maybe this is the thing I'll start doing in the future, because there's a couple of games, say, not Persona 5, I think that would be a bit too long, Final Fantasy 15 might be a bit too long, but maybe Metal Gear Solid 5 would be another one, because with Metal Gear Solid, I have almost all the games except from Peace Walker and 5. Peace Walker's on backwards compatibility. 5 is obviously on the PS4, and then that'd be pretty much it. If I don't do Peace Walker, I won't lose sleep over it because I didn't particularly like Peace Walker anyway. But yeah, what a landmark day to do my first ever completed open world game playthrough. I'm pretty pleased with it. Let me know how you guys are as well. And wow. And we move swiftly on to the Harley Quinn's Revenge DLC, and then on to Arkham Knight, which I have never played and never experienced ever. So that should be interesting. Wow, what a story for Batman Arkham City. A really brave move, and I can see why Rocksteady was so respected with their Batman games, being so true to the source material and taking risks, especially with this game's story. Joker's dead. I still can't get over that. Amazing. Alright guys, I'm out of here until Harley Quinn's Revenge. You'll probably see it immediately after this video. And then we will hop onto Arkham Knight and see how the trilogy ended. Hope you guys will join me for those parts and the usual other stuff as well. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day or whatever time you are watching this video. I thank you for watching. I'm Simon Chaos signing off. Until next time. You know what to do. Subscribe, follow, and all the good stuff. Peace out and stay awesome.